Good afternoon, folks. Ryan Gonzales here with Becker Properties. I'm joined with Cruz, Capital Mortgage, and Mr. Aaron Lee.
What's up?
We had Aaron Lee back on the show today because he's a man of many talents. He has a couple of different businesses, and one of his businesses where he made a ton of money was through wholesaling.
Right.
Real estate first, then wholesaling.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about how you got started in wholesaling, because I know there's so many questions.
There's another one that
it.
goes with it. What is wholesaling?
Yep.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great question.
Let's start from that.
Yeah, start from the very beginning. So a lot of people don't know. They kind of see it online, and there's a lot of gurus that are trying to sell wholesaling courses and stuff like that. So basically, wholesaling is this, right? I go pick up a property from a seller that wants to sell their property. Let's say I buy it for $50,000, right? I turn around and I find an investor who will buy that same property for $100,000, right? So basically, what I do is I sell it to the investor for $100,000 from the actual seller for $50,000, and I take the $50,000 in the middle. And that's
easy.
my money. That's my assignment fee, right? It doesn't happen that it's not always a big goal. A big
What do you think is
turnaround.
the real margin on today's market? Let's just say it's an acquisition at 100K. What do you think the real margin is on average today? Because it's deviated.
Sure, we shoot for like 10K. Norm's about 10K. Yeah, norm's about 10K.
So I mean, 10K on 100,000, we're talking what, a 10% return.
Sure.
Whereas realtor fees, when you buy with a buyer, a seller, then you throw in all the other fees, you're back at the 10%.
Yeah.
But now it's at a higher price point.
Right.
So dealing with a wholesaler has a win opportunity.
Sure.
Here's my question to piggyback with that is, when you look at, or in the relationships that we've had with different wholesalers, I would say it really depends. Is it truly being marketed at a value that is legitimate? Because we've had that problem a couple times with some of the wholesalers we've worked with. Mm-hmm. But more importantly, is it a property that's going to be used as a flip, or is it a property that's going to be used as a hold for rental?
Right.
And I think that really determines whether or not it might be an investor's good purchase, right?
Right.
So when you're looking out for properties, are you only looking for the flips, or are you only looking for the hold, or are you doing both?
So that's a great question. It really depends, and it all comes back to the seller, right? Because sometimes the sellers are like, "Well, I don't want to let it go for that much." If they're not in a compromising situation where they're going into foreclosure, they got a back tax lien on it or any type of stuff like that, then in that instance, they're going to be like, "Well, you know what? I just went and talked to this guy, and he wanted $80,000. The house isn't worth $80,000, but that's what he wants." So it really just depends on that, and also who are my cash buyers and what are they looking for. Because there's two folds to your wholesaling part, right? There's the acquisitions part. Let's acquire the properties. Let's get them. And then there's also the disposition, right? Let's go ahead and dispose of them. Let's get them out. Let's get somebody to buy them. So it really just depends on that, who I have within my network and what they're actually looking for, on which route I'm going to go. And it's all about the numbers, right? Because on the buy and hold, right now is a great time for buy and hold because of the way that the market is. Obviously, we know. And it's gonna, once it gets ready to go, you can start dumping everything out.
Well, here's the other thing that we've talked about, because Ryan and I have bought a few properties together, and we attacked them as simply just, get in, renovate, and sell.
Yeah.
And the strategy worked for us. We made money.
Sure.
But in hindsight, had we done a DSCR cash out, we would have walked away with the same money and still kept the property.
Right. Right.
So understanding your strategy isn't just as an investor looking at, I think, what can I buy and what can I, what's that price going to cost me? But I think it's understanding the products that are out there on the lending side that can allow you to avoid capital gains. Because if I buy that property at 100 and I sell it at 180 or 200, let's say 200, I got to pay capital gains on that 100, right?
Right.
However, if I take a DSCR cash out at 75% value, now I took 150 and I'm only paying capital gains on 50 grand.
Yeah.
I reduced my tax footprint and I kept the property, so I'm making a 4 to 6% equity growth. Oh yeah, and I walked away with my 50 grand, or at least paid off whatever the rental cost was.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
We didn't know that then.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, there's a lot you can do with these properties. Looking back at it, for sure.
Yeah.
With on the loan side. How did you get started in wholesaling exactly? Because you were in real estate for a while. Did you jump into it at the same time, or was it something you transitioned to?
So it kind of happened really funny. Like my first absolute ever home that I wholesaled actually was my grandma's house, and I bought it. Right, and I bought it really cheap from my cousin. So I had it, and I was sitting on it, and I was trying to fix it, and it just wasn't working, dude. It just wasn't happening. But it had a lot of land. It was on the south side of San Antonio. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna sell it. I ended up selling it and walking away with like $40K on top of what I had actually originally bought it for. So after that, I was like, and this was 10 years ago. I was like, you know what? If I can continue to do this, like with other properties, man, I'll make it. But you know, I have a real estate history. I did real estate for 12 years, was associate broker, so I did that all the way across the board. Something happened where I wasn't able to do real estate anymore. You know, by the book through the real estate commission. So at that point, I was like, well, what do I do now? You know, and I prayed on it and tried to really find out what's going on. I'm like, dude, I'm really good at this. This is something I'm really good at. I was winning awards. I had a whole room full of awards, real estate awards, all kinds of stuff.
You were killing it,
Platinum 50, you know, top, like whatever, you name it, right?
Yeah, when I first
so I was
met
like,
you,
yeah, bro, I was banging it
Yeah.
out. So I was like, what do I do? And I'm like, you know what? Wholesaling is the same shit. It's just I'm gonna get paid more on. I mean, I can sell a $30,000 house and make $20,000 on it.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I was going to ask you, did you ever get into flipping or not really? Because wholesaling, I mean, you can make some of the same money.
Yeah, I did.
Flipping.
I got into flipping. I got into building.
You don't have
so
to pick
I
up
did
a hammer.
I did it all. But I think at the end of the day, it's like a quick cash out is wholesaling. Don't get me wrong, man. It's a grind. It's absolute grind.
What's the hardest part of it?
It sounds easy. It sounds easy, especially when you're explaining to somebody. I mean, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But getting those deals right and getting the investors. You were telling me the other day that it's sometimes harder to get the legitimate investors,
Right.
Versus getting the houses.
Sure.
Just because there's a lot of people that maybe have so many deals being thrown at them, or maybe they're just not ready, and they're preaching like they're ready, but they're really not. So how do you filter out the people that are just tire kickers when it comes to that with investors? Like, how do you find them?
I mean, it's hard. You have a lot of homes being pushed out to these investors, right? So what I've always found is, for me, what's always worked about, and to go back to what you just asked me, what's the hardest part? The hardest part is dispositioning the properties, right? Acquiring them is easy. You put up, you know, people have problem homes, and you wouldn't
Those
think
signs, those actually work. People call.
the signs not so much, but you would
Cold
think
calling, door knocking.
Yeah, and it's obviously sphere of influence is the same thing as
Sure.
in real estate. For me, I think, me personally, I have such a long history of real estate that people already know it's what I do. So they're going to already come to me. I'm going to be one of the first people, you know what I mean, that they're going to come to, that they actually know, like, and trust, right? So that's how that's going to work. But going back to that, dispositioning it is one of the hardest things, right? Because you have to find somebody. First off, your numbers have to work in order to sell the property, right? Because whoever's buying it, whether they're going to rent it out or whether they're going to flip it, they have to make their money.
Sure.
I have to make my money, right, on it too. And then the seller that's selling the home has to be able to feel confident enough if they're not in a compromising situation. Because if they're in a compromising situation, we'll go through and we'll be like, hey, man, like, this is what's going to happen. You're either going to go into foreclosure or you're going to walk away with like $2,000 and you're going to get us the house, and then we're going to go do what we need to do.
Yeah. Those are probably the easier ones to get a hold of, right, and get better deals on.
Not to get a hold of, because they're already being bombarded, and most of the times they're already so frustrated with just the situation in general. They probably feel like crap because they're about to lose their home.
Yeah.
They're going through something, you know what I mean? So those are a little harder to go through. But yeah, so going back to that, dispositioning the property, that's the hardest part of it. You know what I mean? So
it's not acquiring.
It's not acquiring.
It's getting rid of it.
So how do you, besides your sphere of influence, have you done any type of marketing to try to find investors or different? I know there's different Facebook groups,
Sure.
or there's different groups in general you can become a part of, like to network.
right.
So has any of those things help you too?
So there's quite a bit of actual, like, websites that all the investors will be a part of, and they pay serious money, and so do the people that are acquiring the properties pay serious money every month to put that property on, to be able to have investors go and look at it and then start putting offers on it.
So anybody who's on that website is probably serious.
They're serious, right? That's what they want to do. So, but
That's cool. I didn't know there's a website like that. It's
Yeah.
kind of like the MLS, like the black market MLS or whatever.
something
Wholesaling
like that. Yeah, and they pay
cool,
serious money to go on there, man. I mean, serious money. You're talking about $2,000 a month to go on there and be able to find or to be able to sell property.
So there's a legitimate commitment that these investors are interested in acquiring now, not later.
Right.
Dude, that would be the first place I would go to then.
Yeah.
And then what do you pay as a wholesaler to be on it? Or do you pay?
You got to pay $2,000.
You pay 2,000, they pay 2,000 to be on it.
Yep.
Whoever has that website's paying it.
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah, and it's worldwide, that website, so you can put it up, and it's like that's one way. Another way is I'm telling you, it's a grind, dude. It's absolute grind.
There's a lot of real estate groups that I've seen when I started like just looking for wholesaling properties or investments, and these groups, man, they get stupid comments whenever they post a house, depending on the area and the numbers and stuff. But man, I wonder how many people are really serious, on something like Facebook or one of those Facebook groups. But you haven't really gone that route, right?
I mean, I've done it before.
Or you post it everywhere.
The problem you run into with that is that you have other wholesalers trying to piggyback on somebody else's wholesaler.
Well, yeah, if you have a great idea,
you're looking
imitation.
You know what I mean?
You're
Yeah.
looking for the end buyer, not another
So they're
wholesaler.
like, yeah, I'll do it. And I've had it happen before. Yeah, I'm an end buyer. Okay, cool. And then we start getting towards the finish line, and then here comes that second contract. Oh no, we're gonna go ahead and JV it with you. We're gonna daisy. It's called daisy chain, which is basically adding a wholesaler onto a wholesaler.
Can you explain that? See the wholesaler versus doing that versus the
Yeah.
end buyer, like just so everybody knows.
Sure. So end buyer is going to be somebody that's coming in that's actually going to be the investor that's going to flip it, or that's going to
They're gonna be on deed.
They're going to be on the deed. Yeah, they're going to be on the deed.
Yeah.
But when it comes to somebody coming to what's called JV is two partners that are two wholesalers. A daisy chain is going to be multiple, and you can get up to like 5 wholesalers wholesaling, wholesaling.
Imagine.
If there's enough room,
That's wiping out all the margin.
if there's enough room in the deal, right? So that's where somebody's going to come in. They're not going to be on the actual end deed. They're going to be on the contract, right? But not on the actual end deed. They're not going to be the actual
How
purchaser.
often does that happen with some of your deals, or that you've seen?
I've learned to do everything myself in-house, so I don't really have that happen anymore, but it has happened to me before.
Now you have
Yeah.
more, like
More insight.
you have
Yeah.
more insight, but also probably like some legit investors that you can just call and be like, hey, I'm
Right.
going to give you the first opportunity,
Right.
right? Because you build that clientele list.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, because when I see the wholesale offers I get, I mean, they're ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about 80, 100 grand
Under-
off or
yeah.
something like that, right? Like
Yeah, I'll get this offer that says, "Oh, hey, we're selling this. ARV is 300. You only need 50K in reno, and we're selling for this number." And we run the numbers, and it's like, bro, it's not a $300,000 house. It's a $220,000 house. And they get really pissed off.
Right.
How did you get that number? It's
Yeah.
MLS, bro. It's literally
We ran
public information.
ran comps on it. What?
So this recent investor you sent me not too long ago, I've been having him run a lot of comps for him, and so what I'm seeing is that these wholesalers are overpricing the houses for sure, the ARVs.
Yeah.
And some of these wholesalers, people need to know is they may be new, may not have a lot of experience in real estate, may not actually know what they're doing. They may be getting these numbers from someone else and not actually walking the property themselves. So when you start asking questions to these wholesalers, are they the ones walking the property? Do they know what they're doing? Because do they have any experience in flips, right? Do they have any experience doing this stuff themselves? Because they're going to be a whole lot more attentive and knowledgeable and be able to answer some questions that you have. Being this investor, being this flipper that you want to be, there's a lot of people that I see get screwed. They either don't have any margin. Like this guy that I helped, he didn't have any margin. He lost money on his first deal.
Yeah.
And I've done that too. Like in the beginning, you just
It happens.
and
It
I'm in
definitely
real
happens.
estate, but there's so many little things that come up on the flip side that you just don't think of, man. Don't think of. And then if you're listening to these numbers and you're taking those numbers, like, if you're taking,
I mean, we have a
it's crazy.
legitimate contractor that's done 90% of my business. And even he made one mistake on a property and he missed the code on the electric panel. And that cost me $15,000 and that wiped out my entire margin.
See, I knew that guy who sold you that property. He didn't have any real estate experience before that. And I know how that company works. They just get their numbers from someone who walks it, right?
Yeah.
And they trust those numbers, but them themselves.
I knew that my margin was spot on. I knew I was going to make 20 grand. And the delays that we got with the electric and then the cost for the electric
Yeah.
plus the extra couple months of interest,
Yeah.
I mean, within
Oh, yeah.
within 2 months, I lost 20 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it's important to build these relationships with these investors, right? And they probably respect the hell out of you and like listen to everything you say after you do a couple of deals with
Yeah,
them.
you give me a legitimate deal, I'm going to use you 100% of the time.
Because now they know, like, this guy knows what he's talking about. Like,
Yeah.
I made money like off these deals with him before. So that's why it's got to be so important to build these relationships.
Yeah, trust matters.
Oh yeah, for sure.
How do you set yourself apart other than building relationships with these investors? Like, is there something that you market specifically that you do versus another wholesaler? We talked about experience. That could be one big thing.
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
I mean, that's pretty much it, really. I mean, it's just like any business, man. You want to go above and beyond, right? So a lot of times, a lot of these wholesalers are really new. They're really young. They don't have the training. I've got training on running comps, on teaching people how to run comps for years, man. I had teams, you know what I mean? Like this real estate is what I did. You know what I'm saying? On both sides, on the investment side and on the other side, on the flip side.
You're doing hella transactions. So you're having to run comps. You're having to know neighborhoods, areas, square footage. You can look at a house and be like, okay, I have an idea.
I know what this is going to cost me, and I know what it's going to cost me to build or fix.
Exactly. You get to that point in real estate where you just kind of know.
Yeah.
And that just comes with time.
Yeah.
It's interesting because one of the lenders that we work with has an app and a tool, and it's almost as good as a realtor in identifying comps, recent sales, rent, and actual value. And so when I get an investor saying, hey, I got a wholesaler trying to sell me this property, they'll call me and I'll say, hey, look, that number is close, or they're lunatics.
Yeah.
And then I'll get them back to the realtor and say, hey, look, they need a legitimate comp run. And when they're accurate, we're pretty close.
Yeah, I was going to say, your system's pretty good, man.
That's awesome.
But when they're fake numbers,
Yeah.
they're way off. I mean, we had one where they were offering a price of X, and it was $50,000 off the actual market price.
Yeah, I think if I got into another flip anytime soon, I would definitely budget for some type of contingency budget and just like over budget, like we've been doing to make sure it makes sense. Like, we got so excited in the beginning because of that first one.
Well, the first two were easy.
Yeah,
and then the condos. I mean, the duplexes fell on our laps.
Yeah, and then after that, it's like when you're
then it was work.
When you're used to that, it's like this is not that easy. We just got lucky. But we had connections, right? We made those connections.
Again, it's who you know.
Yeah. And I made that first one.
The first one was great.
Yeah.
We're like dream about
what
that
if we
one.
can do this what if we could do this every couple months, man? Yeah.
It was right when the market had shifted during COVID, and buyers were going through the roof and houses weren't there, and we acquired a house in Medical Center for $80,000.
Nice.
80 grand? 85?
140.
140. Okay.
Yeah, but we ended up listing it for $250.
Yeah, but that was our all-in budget, right? 140?
No, that was a purchase price.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we put about 35, almost 40 into it. I think
it was the second one that I got. The one near my dad's house that I got for 80. That's right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this one we did really good on because we listed it for 250. We got 260, and that was when there's bidding wars like crazy.
Yeah, oh yeah.
We're not paying any type
cash
of
on
closing
top.
costs.
Cash on
We
top,
didn't
man.
pay
No appraisal,
anything.
no appraisal.
Yeah,
cash
man,
on top. Like
the inspection was easy. Like everything was simple, and that's the one that Anthony did, and that's who we should have stuck with. Moving forward, because he was just perfect for it.
Yeah.
Anthony's the guy that we use for flips now primarily.
Nice.
That's our guy. He does flips himself, and he's been doing it for a long time. General contractor as well.
And his wife's a realtor, so she's really running tight numbers.
They know
Right.
he knows every little thing to look out for, and he's just gonna do it. And he's like, hey, this needed to be done. This isn't this. And I trust him. He trusts me. So like anything he suggests or wants to do, I'm like, go for it. But he's always looking. He's always budget conscious. He's always looking for the best.
He treats it
And
as if
that's
it's
great.
his money, and he'll say something like, "Hey, if you do this, this is just renter grade.
Yeah.
If you do this, you're going to spend an extra $8,000, $10,000, but you probably get an extra 15 or 20, and you'll make money on this little change."
I love that. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That matters.
And that's definitely something you need on your side for sure.
Oh man, we were talking about doing AC splits, and he's like, "Look, man, for the cost of AC splits," he said, "I think I can get you a whole AC system."
Sure.
And he goes, "It's just going to appeal better to a buyer,
Right.
And it's only $5 or $6 more, and you'll win because you'll be off market in a shorter time frame."
Yeah.
That stuff matters when it's
yeah.
interest.
So going back to your story, how do you find the best deals? Like in the beginning, did you change the way you marketed and operated from what you're doing now? And how, if so, how so?
So in the beginning, I kind of would assess deals when I was getting called out as a realtor to look at properties to try to find out what the best strategy was to be able to help the seller, right? And sometimes it wasn't listing it on the market. Sometimes it was going around and on the backside and wholesaling it and stuff. So that's kind of how I did that. But me now personally, I get realtors that send me properties. I have other, what we call them bird dogs, which bird dog is like a person that's out looking for, like if it, you know, you're hunting, looking for birds, or they're looking for houses for me, right?
Yeah,
and I give
They're
them
driving neighborhoods. They're doing
I'll give
everything.
them a referral fee. I'll give them a $1,000 referral fee if I close on the house or if I get it under contract and closed, right?
It's funny you said that. One of my old work partners in the world that I worked in before, I said, look, if you can get me a property, I'll give you $1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was literally walking up and down the neighborhood.
Right.
I think
$1,000.
I think
She
Oh
didn't
yeah,
mind.
it's easy money.
Yeah,
It's
I think that's important too.
Yeah.
Like, that people know, like,
Yeah.
this is pretty normal for you to get a referral fee. I've heard people paying $1,000, heard people paying $500, but whatever it is, if it's easier for that person to refer you something, like, and they're getting a quick, $1,000 off it or whatever.
that's the more eyes
$1,000 in
and
cash
that
that on a deal that makes me 8, 10, 20, it's a no-brainer.
I probably paid out about 20 grand
Yeah.
to different, like, various people just for finding me properties and doing stuff like
that's
that, bro. You know.
We all got to get paid.
Yeah, man.
It's why it's called work.
Yeah.
Tell me about your worst deal and your best deal. I know there's some stories.
Man. Okay, so worst deal, but it wasn't even, it didn't go through. So unfortunately, and this is a really sad story. And it's just worse because it's like, what? And you know, as a realtor, man, we do so many. I mean, I think I was doing like 50 deals a day. I mean, a year, 50 deals a year, and it's like so much shit can happen because of the numbers, the statistics of everything that's going on. But so I had this guy. He was like, man, I've been trying to sell this house and I've had all these people come, and he's like, I don't know, something about you. I like you, man. Like, you've got a good, you're very professional. You seem cool. You're nice. We're just going to sign with you. So he signed with me, and then I was trying to get a hold of him for a week, and I couldn't get a hold of him, man. Blowing up his phone. I couldn't. So I finally call. Wife answers crying, dude, just crying. I'm like, what's up? And she's like,
passed away.
he passed away.
Yeah.
He passed away the day after he signed, dude.
Yeah.
In the house, asleep,
my
peacefully, at least, But
I had one of those. It was
That's real. That's real.
I had a couple that had never owned a home. They were 70 years old. The wife was very submissive to the husband. He was going to decide when and how. Anyway, they finally decided they were ready. And she calls me crying. She goes, he passed away. She goes, so I'm going to lose all his income and benefits. She goes, we can't afford the house anymore. Man, that's some stuff that'll just. I remember it like it was yesterday.
And it's a sad situation, dude, because life, man, right?
Yeah.
It happens, and in that situation, she was kind of not really the wife, but more so like the girlfriend. He had kids from other female. So there was all this stuff involved where the deal wasn't going to go through anyway. Not that I wanted to, but I definitely wanted to help her. I wanted to get her some type of money, some type of at least something to help her and her kids that she did have with them. But it ended up becoming a mess. I ended up losing contact. I just couldn't, I couldn't do it. So it happens,
Okay. Tell me a happy story now.
Yeah, please.
No, I mean, I genuinely love what I do. A lot of people will look at it, and I know that I saw on our topic list is like, people have a negative connotation towards wholesalers. And I think they're just trying to rip people off. Don't get me wrong. It's like any other business. You're going to have your good, your bad, and your ugly, right? It's going to happen. Me personally, man, I love helping out people that are in some type of distress situation with their home or compromising situation. Hey, you know what? I'm about to go into foreclosure. This is going to hit, my credit score. I'm not going to be able to buy a home for 2 years, right? It's 2 years, 3 years that they can't buy a home, right?
There's ways around it, but
foreclosure.
yeah, it's tough.
Going through all that, going through not only that, just the heartache and the shame of knowing that you've lost this home, because things happen, you know what I mean? But being able to help them get them money where they'll be able to walk away, is definitely a great situation. I had one not too long ago where they were going into foreclosure, but we were able to they didn't even know about doing a loan modification at all. But me on the real estate side, I've dealt with all of it before. Went through, got them a loan modification, then ended up being able to do what's a sub 2, which basically is a subject to taking over their pre-existing mortgage loan. And that house, because we're able to wholesale. I can wholesale owner finance deal. I can wholesale a sub 2, any type of deal, really, transaction. So we were able to get them out of that and then get them some money to walk away to get an apartment and be able to be all right.
Yeah, and most people don't know that they have some equity in their house, but even if they don't have a lot of equity, you can still sub to a deal and get them some money.
I can find buyers for pretty much any
Can you
home.
walk me through what a sub to means?
Yeah. You want me to?
Go for it.
So the sub 2, like you said, is just taking over the existing mortgage. So the mortgage is staying in your name, but I'm going to start making the payments on your behalf. You're deeding over the property to me. It's subject to us paying the mortgage.
How is that different than a contract for deed?
A contract for deed? A contract for deed is basically you just signing over the house to the person.
So but the deed's not moving to your name, right? On a contract for deed, the deed doesn't move into your name. You just agree to buy it and make the payments, right? And then I still get to live in the house. Am I wrong? I mean, walk me through all that.
Not that I remember. I don't think it works like that. I think it works very similar, the contract for deed.
So then subject to means what?
So the deed is being transferred over to you,
buyer.
to the buyer. But they're subject to paying the mortgage on your behalf. And so there's still going to be language in there, like if they don't pay the mortgage, that you could get the property back or foreclose on them or something like that. There's going to be some language in there like that.
So how does that lender not call in the note because they have that right?
They can. Yeah.
There's a lot of risk there.
Oh, there is?
There's tons of risk. Mm-hmm. There's tons of risk.
But if you do it and you do it within enough window, let's say your plan is to either renovate it, flip it, or rent it, you can convert it to another mortgage.
The thing is, it's becoming really, really popular these days. Either the owner financing, which is like a wrap on a mortgage.
Right.
Because you can do owner financing, but if there's a mortgage involved, it's considered a wrap. So you're just wrapping that mortgage with another mortgage. And the seller's becoming the bank for that. Or the subject to is becoming really, really popular. And a lot of the times, the way you do it, the mortgage company typically doesn't know. There's certain ways to kind of get around that. And it's not illegal to do it.
Okay.
The mortgage companies...
Because we offered that to one of your clients on one of the properties I was selling.
Mortgage companies have the right to call the note due for any time.
Because I had that 399 rate, and I had a 399 rate. We said, look, we'll just give it to you for a 5 or a 6.
Yeah.
And
when we were going to do that deal,
and they were uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. See, like that could have worked out. Someone who freaked him out.
Someone got to him.
He had this attorney that was telling him all this stuff. I mean, there's anything can happen.
Yeah, he would have had an epic
a lot of times attorneys don't know a lot of what's involved in that too.
Yeah, they may have not really known and maybe given some bad advice. They freaked him out anyways with that deal. But this is not something illegal. It's being done more and more. Now, you do take the risk of the mortgage company finding out, but there's different ways for them not to find out.
So you can once you're on deed.
A lot of times, what's going to happen too is as long as they're making the payments, they don't care.
Right. Bank doesn't care. But here's what's interesting. So most of us in lending are taught that you have to be on deed for 6 months before you can do some sort of refinance. Becoming a broker, you learn
because it gets kicked back or something, right? From that, more or less.
But it's just that you run into lenders that just don't want to touch it unless you've been on the deed for 6 months because they want to make sure that it's got a clean title. That's the real reason.
Okay.
But I've got access to lenders that they'll do 90 days. I've got lenders that will do 30 days. I got one lender that says they'll do it next week.
Wow.
But guess what? That's a risk that they're taking, right? So guess what? The rate's going to be a little higher.
Right.
Again, some of these buyers don't care.
Yeah.
Because if I can get a steal on a deal and get this property at a great price, why wouldn't I get it, immediately convert it, and then pull money out?
Sure.
So there's so many tools that even investors aren't aware of that I'm running across. I just did one the other day. Your mom's client. She has a client that needs some money, has a very large home, and it's paid off. It's worth over $1 million. I've got a lender that will do a 50% LTV, loan to value, with no credit pull.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah,
that's great, dude.
I can
get with you on
pull
some of
this
these
guy out of
investment
debt.
properties, man.
He's got a lot of different products out there.
I got stuff that blows my head away sometimes. It's
he probably don't even know all the products he got.
That's great. Dude. I'm definitely gonna have to get with you on that.
With a company you're with, like, they just have so much.
When you have 165 lenders, I have access to stuff that still freaks me out today.
Yeah, that's great.
There's still a lot of money out there. These lenders want to lend.
Yeah. I've got hedge fund money that I have access to. I can do commercial. I can do raw land. I can build a house.
Yeah.
I can build a building if you want.
I think I told you he does the hard money loans too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to get you with one of my guys. So just real quick, going back to what you were talking about, and what you were saying as well. If the bank if there's a existing mortgage, is the bank gonna call the note due because they're like, hey, you transfer the deed over to somebody else's name? The way that we kind of work around going and being able to have access to the actual mortgage and to actual payments and the online portals and all that stuff, there's two different ways. One way is through a third-party servicer, right? That will go through, that handles all that. The second way is getting power of attorney from the original owners. If we have power of attorney, then we can go through.
Limited power of attorney for just that portal.
Yep. We can go through and have access to the actual mortgage by getting power of attorney. And then that eliminates everything.
Yeah, my seller recently used a note servicing company. It's an attorney that basically handles all that. They create an account for you.
Well, it's really cool because they're also building the amortization schedule, which is going to be needed down the road.
They handle the payments, and they make the payments, and they give the excess or profit to the seller, have a special account for them. And that's probably the best way to do it. So there's a paper trail for both parties.
Yeah, right.
I went back to the contracted deed because I forgot exactly what it was. But what it is very similar to subject to, but you're paying the seller until the house is completely paid off, and then you get the deed transferred to you. So really, I mean, it doesn't really make much sense for a buyer to go that route. It's a protection for the seller.
So subject to is a better alternative
for a buyer
to the contract for deed.
The buyer. Yeah, because you get that deed up front transferred to you, and then you're still making the payments. And then, so this is happening with deals where people are in some type of hardship or need to get out because they're just like they're struggling.
Or an estate where the family. I'm dealing with some of that right now. I've got family members out of the state.
Most people that don't have like a ton of equity, it will do this because the new owner coming in is going to eventually build equity on the back end whenever the housing market improves, and so that's where you're seeing a lot of this happen right now. For one reason or another, but it's happening a lot more. This is becoming very popular.
Yeah. And
so, I mean, you do these deals. I was already hearing about this stuff a couple years ago.
Yeah.
As well, like it's just becoming more.
It's just there's always some different types of creative financing, so to speak, right? Ways to take over properties.
But, yeah, and like you said, it could be a situation where you're actually helping the buyer.
Yeah.
Or the seller. Because it could be in whatever situation they're in right now.
Or they need to move absolutely 100%. There's a family emergency, let's say, in another state, and they have to move. They can't rent the house out. They just want to be done with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then you can take that over. And I'm going to get with you on this. With that, usually what we say is, well, there's ways to figure out if they want to buy another home, if they want to purchase another home, to wipe this debt, right, from their DTI. Mm-hmm. Am I correct? Okay.
There's ways to exclude the debt. I mean, it just... Every situation, wow, this is going to be a longer answer than I thought. Every situation really goes to the skill set of the loan officer. Then the access to products that they have or don't have. I had a buyer right now, I had a listing agent call me right now because the buyer wanted $75,000 of closing costs. And I said, you don't need $75,000 of closing costs. I said, even if the buyer has a 620 credit score, you only need about 35. And I said, I can cut that even shorter and probably narrow it down to 20 because I can waive escrows on a VA loan and he can't. I said, so now your seller can actually legitimately sell the house for a price it's going to appraise for. But more importantly, they're not losing as much money if they're giving away 75 grand.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, so he's calling. And so understanding your products, having access to the products. I mean, hell, I was in Vegas, had a realtor call me. She goes, hey, Carlos, remember that loan that you wouldn't give me the pre-qual for? I got the pre-qual from this mortgage company. I said, really? That's interesting. I said, did they validate and verify his income and his assets? She said, I would hope so. I got the pre-qual letter. I said, can you give me the loan officer's number? The guy's been in business for 4 months. I said, and he's at a very, very prestigious mortgage company, probably the most expensive mortgage company in San Antonio. I said, why don't you call the loan officer and ask him, did you verify income? Did you verify the assets? She does. She lit him up. She goes, you're sending me out to a house in the woods with a stranger, and you didn't even verify income or assets?
We could probably tell stories about this all
Oh,
day.
yeah. Oh,
with
yeah.
with the lenders that just used to give out pre-calls.
yeah.
Oh my God, dude. You better
Used to write 'em on
verify-
napkins,
you
man.
better be verified. You're good. On the napkins, crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to go back to your story again. What's been the most challenging thing through this whole experience, this whole journey for you? Because you've been doing it for over 12 years now with real estate, like kind of combined.
So you
right?
got in when the market was recovering.
Yeah.
You got it, and then you went through the market when it was stable. And then you went through COVID, which was just absolute chaos.
Nuts. Yeah.
And then you went through the worst market that we've seen in 20 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, what has been the struggle?
You've been through the fire, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's all it's changed. Obviously, when the market was hot, it was hard to get a hold of properties, of
Right.
houses, because they were just like, done.
Yeah, like for the same day. You're calling and it's gone.
dude.
Yeah, in hours.
Even off-market properties. I mean, because you had wholesalers out at that point that were making easy, stupid money, and they were out hitting any house they could on the grind, and people were selling their houses.
We had a
They to sell
wholesaler
them, man.
that when I did his loan, and he declared $600,000 of income.
Sheesh.
He'd only been doing it for 2 years.
Yeah,
But that was COVID.
that was.
I
Cool.
can't imagine what his income is now.
Yeah, it follows real estate, so it's kind of the same right now. But that's where you adapt, right? So what we've done over the past, 2 years is adapted into, instead of wholesaling houses just as a whole, now we're wholesaling subject twos. We're wholesaling owner finances. We're doing trust acquisitions. We're doing all kinds of different stuff, right? So it's just like regular real estate. You got to kind of move with everything. I mean, when the market was barely recovering too, I stopped going after regular buyers that were looking for homesteads and was doing investors. Because at that point, that's
So
what
your
made
strength really has been
more
about
sense.
adapting to the market, identifying the trend, and then being able to refocus that to
Right.
your investors or your clients.
Right. And however it's going to make more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me about a couple of recent deals you've done.
Man, I've had quite a bit. One of the last ones I had that was like absolutely a pain in the butt, man. It was so the cool thing about wholesaling is that I don't have to just do it here in San Antonio, man. Like I could pick up the phone and start calling vacant properties or start calling, tired tenants or foreclosures all over the United States, and I can wholesale them there.
Yep.
It's the same thing. You know what I mean?
So a friend of mine had tipped me off on a pretty interesting market in another state. Rent is high, housing prices are very low, and the rental costs are minor.
Nice.
So I want to acquire 4 or 5 of these houses
Right.
over the next year or two
Right.
to hold, especially right now.
Yeah, for sure.
So I definitely need to lean on you because I did not know that you could do other states.
Oh yeah, dude. There's such a thing as virtual wholesaling. People that just
I need to talk to you about this
Dude.
because I think you're going to want in on this
The really
opportunity.
cool thing about wholesaling too is you don't have to have a license.
That's right.
But you still need to be experienced because I mean, you want to build these relationships like we said.
Yeah.
And you don't want to you want to come off like you're just, unexperienced, don't know what you're
Right.
doing. And then when you talk to these investors, you could potentially be talking to a well and you not knowing what you're talking about.
You've lost that
You
forever.
lost it forever. Yeah, first impressions are everything. So I would say anybody who's getting into this business, like, you better be learning from somebody about all this stuff.
So let's say somebody listens to this podcast and says, hey man, I'm not happy with my job. I want a better career. I want a different opportunity. I'm going to say right now, getting into the real estate market is probably the best time because it is going to be on an upswing.
Yeah.
You're going to see more movement, more traction. You're going to see shorter windows of time where things are going to be on the market. It's going to be a more active market.
Yeah.
How does somebody meet you, connect with you, and then learn from you?
Yeah.
How do you structure your staff?
Are you building a team?
Yeah, I'm building.
yeah.
I'm actually trying to pick up at least 5 acquisitions to be able to teach to do wholesaling. The thing about it though, man, is that I've had it before. I've had people come on board and they're just not. They don't have that grind, that mentality, and that's
not
something
for everybody.
They always there's this saying. One of my really good friends always say, you can't teach hustle, right?
No, you can't.
You can't teach hustle.
You
So
can't
yeah.
coach effort.
Yeah, for sure. So, Aaron Lee Enterprises, Aaron Lee on Facebook, on Instagram, anywhere, everywhere. I'm all over the place. So, and I'm always posting videos. You've seen my videos all the time of acquisitions on acquiring homes and doing all sorts of stuff. I'm going to start putting out more content on that end too. But I'm definitely looking for some people, man, to come on board. And it is something you could do part-time still and have a day job and do it part-time until it takes off,
Right.
man.
I mean, why wouldn't you? Let's say I was a teacher and I'm off at 5. I can still make calls for 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
I make 15 hours worth of calls plus whatever I want to do on the weekend and pick up extra cash. Legitimate money, not 10 grand, a lot more than just 10 grand over a year.
Oh, yeah.
And when you're mentoring these people that you're going to bring on, or people that you've mentored in the past, what are you telling them? What are you coaching them on first? The very first thing to do?
Yeah. How do you set them on expectations?
So the reality of it is like you got your standard operating procedure. So I'm going to break down everything from the very beginning all the way out to the end.
This is the process.
And obviously I'm going to teach the legalities of it too, because you can very easily get sued. Just like anything else, if you you're deceptive, right? You're making false claims, or there's all kinds of stuff that could happen. So
Sure.
I walk through all the legalities of it first. I want to make sure everybody's safe. I want to make sure myself is safe and nothing's going to come up. And then through there, it's a technique. Okay, well, what's the technique of acquiring the properties? How are we doing this? What are we doing? Who are we reaching out to? Obviously, your real estate agents are going to be they're going to be the front lines, right?
Right.
So we're going to reach out to them. We're going to want to get with them, and then. For me, social media marketing and my whole real estate collaboration from friends, because I've been in the business for so long, is what's really gotten me most of my business. The bandit signs haven't really worked that well. The cold calling, believe it or not, really hasn't worked that well, except for out of state for me. So out of state, it's been able to work.
Okay.
Door knocking? But here in San Antonio, door knocking is great. Door knocking is great. Getting your boots on the ground and going out there and knocking and talking to people, because of the fact that you see a vacant home. Let's say you see a vacant home, right? And I'll teach my students this too. If we can't get a hold of anybody online, a lot of times they may have a deceased owner, right? And so then how do we find who's next now? The next of kin, who actually has entitlement to that property, who actually owns that property. So what we do is talk to the neighbors around. And the neighbors usually will know, right?
Well, that was what I was going to say. It was interesting. That first property that we acquired, the neighbor is the one that called me.
Nice. Yeah.
And said, hey, this person passed away. The son lives out of state. He doesn't really want to deal with the property, and he just wants to get rid of it.
Right.
And that'll happen a lot. I mean, I think if you kind of specifically try to target those people in that situation, a lot of times they just want to get rid of the property.
It gives them an opportunity to know that their family home is actually going to be renovated and not just used.
Yeah. Did they ever come back to see our house? Right.
I think he drove back.
Yeah. I think he saw it right through an open
He
house
walked
or something
it.
like that.
He walked it.
I think he did. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's lovely. That's one thing I definitely did when I was doing flips and I was buying it from like a family. They're like, look, it was my grandpa's house, my grandma's house, or whatever. I'd be like, look, once I'm done with it, I'm gonna give you the opportunity to come back and take a look at it and see what it's like.
Yeah, that's
you know
cool.
what I mean?
That's pretty cool.
It's a cool feeling.
Yeah, it is, for sure.
It just gives them closure, I think. My wife inherited her mom's house, and we always wanted to fix it up, but her mom was very prideful and wasn't willing to let us give money. And so once we were able to renovate the home, I mean, my wife cried.
Yeah.
I cried.
Yeah.
Because it's what the house could have been.
Right.
Yeah.
And she could have enjoyed.
Right.
And knowing that we were able to do that, man, that felt good.
Yeah.
Anthony did that one, right?
Yeah, Anthony, of
That's
course.
great.
Yeah.
It
That's
came out
great,
good.
man.
It came
Yeah.
out really good. Yeah. What are some of the best tools out there for wholesalers? You told us about that website, which is pretty expensive, but someone just getting into it, like,
Sure.
what are some more, more economic options for them?
Yeah. So there's a really big wholesaler that does a lot of transactions. He's also got some classes and stuff. And he actually invented a whole software, right, for it. So
Nice.
PropWire is going to be one of them. PropStream, those are the best ones. PropStream is I think PropStream is the free one. So it's actually free. You can go on there and look up anything. The great thing about it, man, is that you can look up how much equity the seller has, the owner has in the property. So that's always something that you want to have in your back pocket when you're calling, trying to negotiate deals with them.
Yeah.
And that's one thing. MLS, I think, it still does it too, but it's a little hard. You got to kind of navigate through a lot of other stuff. But PropWire has it. PropWire has comps on the fly, so you can push up comps, see exactly what the comps are. As a generality, obviously, it's not going to be.
Is mortgage data public? No, right?
Yes.
It is?
But getting access to it is an act of God. I mean, I've got vendors that will, because again, for us, like I was trying to bring on this loan officer, and he had experience originating loans, but he didn't have experience acquiring, networking, and building business and getting referral partners. So what I was doing was I was buying leads and I was having him call. And there's a ton of mortgage companies that have bad rates. And so we have vendors that we can see who these mortgage companies are, the loan officer, the buyers. We have their contact information. We have everything. We know what they bought it for. We know what the estimated value is, and we know what their rate is. So yes, there's a lot of data out there that you can buy, and it's affordable.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the other one that's a paid service is not too expensive either, but there's a free one, like you said, that has a lot of information. You're probably going to get more paying for a service, more information, most likely. But
actually, dude, to be honest with you, I use a free one, and the only thing I pay for is to get the phone numbers of the owners,
skip
tracing. Yeah, that's it. I have other partners that use a paid one, and they're like, "Oh, I like this one better," and I'm like, I don't know. I'm kind of like.
That's cool, and that's how you get their number. Then you make.
And I come from using MLS.
You make free. I like free.
Yeah, I like free.
Why would I pay if I can get the same info?
It's all free, dude. Like that, you can go on websites online, and you can get the numbers, and they're free. It's going to take you a little bit longer. I like speed, so I like to just let's get the number. I'm looking at the house. Let's get the numbers.
Because time has a value.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. And then anything else, like you have a database too that you use, or a certain website you use for that?
Just the PropWire, PropStream. Those are going to be the only ones really that I use for acquiring them. And so it's going to be the same thing in the disposition side. On the disposition side, I'm going to go try to find people that have bought properties in that area. Yeah. And then whoever's bought properties in those areas, I'm going to call them and say, hey, are you looking for any more properties in that area? So that's really the main one I use. Obviously, the appraisal district. We're going to go through the appraisal district and try to verify all the information and kind of look for the information from that too.
Make sure that's the right form.
Yeah, so those are going to be pretty much the basic two that I'm going to use. Obviously, a CRM. We're going to use a basic CRM to be able to keep track of our sellers and keep track of our buyers as well. So,
man, we talked about a whole lot, probably a good amount of all this stuff. But any advice you would give to these people that just want to get into it in the very beginning? Like, what would their first 90 days look like?
Sure.
You think?
It's a grind, right? So you're going to have to be grinding it out. I would say get with a good mentor that's going to be able to show you guys. And like I said, I'm looking for 5 people right now. So if that's something you guys want to do, you can hit me up on socials, Aaron Lee Enterprises. Because the thing about it is that no deal, it's just like real estate. No deal is the same, right? Every deal is going to be different. It's going to have this, it's going to have that. You have to know how to push and pull different sides and different parts of the deal to be able to make it work and get it to the finish line. And one of the biggest things is like, just like that's your lender and he's going to get the deal done. I have my title people, and I know they're going to get the deal done. I have, my survey people. I know they're going to get the deal done. I have my contract. So you got to know all that stuff too. And it's a little different when it comes to wholesaling because you got to know rental. You got to know rental costs too. That's one thing. Is like, maybe if you could hit spot on your comps, right? Okay, cool. This is the value of the house.
But if you're off on rental,
and you can be off big time on rental. I mean, we're talking like. And here's just an example. I had a house that this guy was like, yeah, okay, so this is what it is, right? And I go and take a look underneath on the actual, so it's pier and beam, right, on the actual foundation. Dude, I swear it was held up with Jenga blocks.
Like Jenga?
Yeah, it was like just like 2x4s, bro, just stacked up like this, holding that house up. And I'm like,
that's crazy. Yeah.
That whole thing's gonna have to be completely redone.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's funny you say that.
They do put shims in. That's pretty normal.
Yeah, no, this wasn't a shim, man. This was like
crazy.
Who can pull out what first?
I had
That's crazy. What's it getting with your GC, right? I'm sure you have a GC or someone that walks the property, or just you?
I mean, I've been doing it for so long, I already kind of know more or less. Yeah. But if I do need the help, or I have 2 or 3 GCs that I'll call to come out that they don't mind helping out at least, buy them some lunch.
Yeah.
Going back to the rental though, man, I had a buyer. I mean, an investor. He was like, "Oh, I'm confident the rent's $3,000." I'm like, and I use my tool, and I'm like, I'm seeing like 2,200 to 2,300. Oh no, I swear it's $3,000. Came in at 2,200. Yeah, and I mean, $800 in rent. That's about $130,000 in lending. The deal just poof, it died.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 different sides to this. I mean, if you're looking for flips right now, you need to be on top.
Well, you need a network, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to get into this business, in any aspect, you better have a network. You better have a realtor mentor. You better have your wholesaler mentor.
Yeah.
You better have your tax person. You better know your lender knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
You better know these people, because otherwise you're just going to be throwing money away.
Yeah.
And trust me, we've seen it all.
One thing I wanted to ask you we didn't touch on is the title work. So
Yeah.
I mean, there could be all types of liens on these properties, or maybe you run into a situation where it's not the rightful owner trying to sell this property, and then you're like, what the hell?
I've had that.
And so I want to
Oh,
hear
I've had
some
that.
stories, or at least one, of you finding out this, like
Yeah.
after you got it under contract, you're running title and making sure
Yeah.
the title's clean. Tell me
Oh
a
man,
good story about that.
it's a whole mess, right? Like, because a lot of people think that, okay, well, if I'm the son and these are my mom and my dad, then rightfully when they pass, the home's going to go to
They
me, or
don't
whatever the
understand that.
case is. You know what I mean? And we've gone into situations where they're like, yeah, I'm the rightful owner. Whatever, right? Especially in the beginning when I first kind of started, it can get really messy, dude. And then you talk about the dad has a wife and a son from somebody else, or had a wife and a son from somebody else, and they got kids. So now everybody has to have, everybody has equitable interest in the property. So now we got to go through and get what's called, affidavit of heirship and all kinds of other, paperwork and stuff. And so I've had a deal tied up for 2 years.
A lot of that, dang,
I had a deal tied
I
up
had
for
one that
2 years,
was a year
dude.
long.
That's insane.
I had a deal that took a
Because
year
of
to
crap
close.
like that, dude. Yeah.
Well, so next week we're gonna have a real estate attorney on. She does a lot of she's been in the business for years, does
Yeah.
probate, owner financing, whatnot. We're gonna have some really good questions for her. But a lot of people that have these properties, they don't have any wills set in place, which
Right.
could be huge, because then you have to go into a probate to find out who's who, and that's going to court, and that could be it could tie up the property for, like you said,
In other words,
months.
just have a will.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get a will done
Yeah.
for $100.
Yeah, I really want to
Get a will.
really excited to have her in here next week to talk about that, because I think
Yeah, that's going to be great.
I mean,
I have a very serious question for her already. A friend of mine, his mom's been in a home, and the man that she was with, they never got married, but his intention was to give her the home to live in until she passed, and then if she wanted to sell it, she could sell it and split the money 2 ways with the other 2 daughters. But he put her name on the deed.
oh, he took his name off, or
He took his name off the deed, and it's her name on the deed. So now what? I mean, I
I want to ask the attorney that question, and see what happens. But come to think of it, if you're available next week, you can get on too. I mean,
Oh, that would be
y'all might
great.
have
that
some,
would be cool,
That
because
would
I
be
got a ton of
great,
questions.
dude.
y'all
I
might have
got-
some good
yeah.
conversations and
Yeah.
questions, and you're going to be able to relate to all that.
Yeah.
So much better than us, because you do it so often.
Oh, yeah, that would be great.
So yeah.
Speaking of title, I've been running into some issues right now, because now that the market has shifted, a lot of buyers are calling me asking me to refinance their homes. And so I think I've got probably 15 transactions in the pipeline right now for refis. And it's interesting because one of my lenders will do a loan type which is called track. When they do the conventional refinance, we can select this option called track, and what it will do is it goes off the DU findings, and it says that they will accept an attorney letter instead of title work, and so the fee for title is only $1,600. Well, if I'm refinancing an $800,000 home, a new title policy and all the other fees that go with it, that's $4,000 or $5,000.
Yeah.
Expensive.
Title companies do not want to do these deals in Texas.
Nope.
That's telling you how much fluff they've got in commissions.
Oh.
There's only one title company in San Antonio that will do these loans.
Title companies are killing it, bro. Like,
Well,
yeah,
they better get with the plan, because guess what? If Freddie and Fannie are okay with it, you better be okay with it, because the title companies that are, they're going to get all of our business.
I mean, honestly, open up a title company would be
That's
Crazy.
That's funny that you're saying that, because the actual last deal I had closed on Friday, I think it was. We did a closing with non-title commitment closing. So it was a non-title
Yeah.
commitment closing. So the buyer
Attorney review.
didn't get nothing, no title commitment on it. They were family members, so they were related. So
you
there
don't
was
have to have the title.
No, it's not even it's not even required, and you gotta love this because
when there's a lender involved, yes, they're going to require that, right?
No,
we do not require a lender policy, but not an owner policy.
Okay.
wow, okay,
But here's what's interesting. Here's my favorite one. So if you're a builder, let's say you're a big box builder, let's say you're Perry Homes. Well, when you bought the land,
You already got.
you already did title work.
Yeah. So
So why am I doing title again when I'm buying the house from you?
yeah, why am I paying for title? 'Cause
Yeah.
A lot of them
On,
are paying
on
for
an
title.
$800,000 house,
right,
that's $4,000 that I've just thrown away that I could have used to get a better rate.
right.
Yeah, most buyers are probably not going to want to buy a property without title insurance because
I will.
what I would advise the same thing. You know,
Let me
because
ask you something.
you just never
Ask a
know
title
on
company.
the buyer side.
Ask a title company how many title policies have they ever paid out. They don't like sharing that data.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, oh yeah.
Well, yes, I'm sure it's very, very little.
It's
It's
less than that.
very,
Yeah.
very little. Yeah, it's the nature of the
It's
business,
just
right?
CYA.
And
It's just CYA, right?
nature of the business, and it's like, what if it does happen? Like, there's a small percent, right? If it can
If I'm
happen.
buying a house from a builder,
So you're
it's
like-
going to probably be almost nil.
So you're like,
Yeah.
damn, like, should I invest in this? Like, if I didn't and something happened, I would be kicking myself in the ass.
Yeah, that Perry house that I bought,
Yes.
I didn't pull title. I used my money for myself.
Really?
Wow.
Okay.
That's great. Yeah,
I
that makes
am
sense.
I'm tight with my money.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, shit. That is true, man. Then the industry is gonna be changing in all sorts of ways. I think.
I had
that's
one-
one of the questions I want to ask you next.
I had one lady literally telling me all these reasons why. And I said, but wait a minute. If the federal government is okay, Freddie and Fannie are okay, the lender's okay, why are you the only one that's not okay with it? Oh, well, because we can't make our commissions. Oh, wow.
She should have told you that.
Exactly.
She went right there.
I love that.
'Cause
She's
we
honest,
can't
at
get
least.
paid.
At least she's honest.
That's
like,
that's true.
Bye.
That's true. It's crazy.
But here's the thing. If you are the one title company that does this, and all the lenders that know that you are the one title
That's
company,
what I'm
guess
saying,
what?
yeah, yeah.
You're now going to get 100 deals a month that nobody else is doing.
Right.
So it's get with the program.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's owning a title company could be
An opportunity.
Could be a move.
could be something. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely.
One of the things that I've got to ask. So, do you have a relationship group? What is it called? A B&O or
BNI,
BNI or
right,
BMI
yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
Do you have something where you're working with people that are in like-minded, like industries that are sharing information to each other
Oh, we just
that we can push that out?
we were just talking about that the other day.
Yeah, I actually don't.
Yeah, we were thinking
don't.
about maybe starting one up.
I think it's a need.
Yeah.
Especially knowing that the market's going to get better very fast. It's already there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
Yeah.
I'm saying it right now. We're gonna do
We're
it.
working on a lot of things.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of the things for sure we had talked about.
So I think we
Yeah.
need title. I think we need insurance. You know,
Definitely a good attorney.
a good attorney.
But before we
Sorry.
talk about this and tangent off something, wanted to ask you real quick. What are your thoughts about the next 5 to 10 years for the wholesale game, real estate game? Like, how do you think it's going to change from now? I mean, there's a lot more technology out there, a lot more information out there.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years with it?
You know, going back to the adaptive thing, man. I'm just gonna have to adapt. I know that AI is coming out with a lot of stuff.
That was where I was going to ask you.
that they're doing cold call. They're doing all kinds of calling.
AI calling.
Yeah, they're doing AI
Oh, yeah.
calling, and and I've had them call me for houses that I've got under contract.
And when it's a creepy thing, because it sounds like a legitimate
it sounds
conversation.
like a legit person on that phone,
And
man.
they're gonna just keep on
so
getting better
they're
and better.
it's gonna get better and better and easier and easier. And
One of my lenders is using AI to call past deals, and the AI system is doing the math analytics before it calls.
Nice.
So it says, hey, Ryan has this loan. He closed on this date at this rate. Yes, he meets the qualifications for a refinance that would benefit him X dollars.
Why don't
And
you
it's
do
now, because it just made 1,000 calls for me in a day.
Yeah, why don't you do that? Or you do it?
I am.
Yeah,
I am
you're
using
doing it right
This is
now.
my
Okay,
lender that's
yeah.
doing it for me.
Gotcha,
They're
okay.
doing it for me.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Why do you think I have 15 deals in the pipe?
That's
That's
sick.
great. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
dude.
it did all the work
Yeah.
for me. Now, I still have to close.
Yeah.
I still have to explain the value proposition, but it opened the door to a conversation that I might not have had.
So much leverage right there.
And here's the crazy part.
Crazy,
You think these other lenders are doing that for their loan officers?
Not yet.
No, they're keeping that for their in-house stuff
Yeah.
because they don't want to pay the LO.
Yeah.
Are you using any AI stuff right now?
I do. Yeah, I'll use AI generated to look for properties, to look for.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Properties for certain areas that are actually more prone to being able to want to sell, stuff like that. So I definitely use that. Obviously, scripting. A lot of people use AI for scripting. I've been doing it for so long, but I mean, you can use AI for anything, dude.
Yeah, you're not afraid to jump
You
on
can
the
use it
phone
for
and
call.
start
Yeah, you
calling
use
it.
it for calling too. It's texting, whatever.
Yeah, but it's definitely gonna be a game changer, man, when it really starts getting out there. Other than that, I always like to ask this question too. Like, is there something specific you do? Like you talked about this morning, you like dressing up sometimes. You feel good, look good.
Yeah.
It helps you like mentally.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you do to help your mental focus right now? Whether it be listening to podcasts or reading books or something you do in the morning rituals and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always learning, man. So I'm always trying to like learn the next best thing. There's a ton of podcasts out there. Wholesale Hotlines podcasts. It's got some of the bigger people that are in the industry right now.
What's it called?
Wholesale Hotline.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on
Apple or Spotify?
and,
Okay.
and Apple. Yeah, so that's one of the good ones. I'll listen to that. Really, dude, to be honest with you though, like before I actually like, go out and start like maybe knocking on doors or like trying to actually get more business, I'll listen to some good music that like kind of picks me up and puts me in that mood, puts me in that zone. You
Music's
know?
a thing.
So, and dressing nice too. But I mean, obviously being out there right now in this 100 degree weather, I'm not gonna
Yeah,
be
we're
out
not
there
knocking doors.
like this. I ain't knocking doors. So, but yeah, man.
I think that's very important, man. There's this guy that I was talking to the other day, and he's going to get into real estate. He's always been in sales, and he kind of brought that to my attention. And I've always kind of known this. We've overheard this. It's so important in the morning to do certain things and be consistent with it because I think it helps your overall mental state. Yeah. But that was one thing he was like harping on. It's like, I have to do this in the morning because if not, I'm not on my game. Yeah. So I always like to ask that because you're doing so many things right now.
Yeah.
We talked about a couple of things we're going to do. Yeah. It's just hard to continue, at that level.
You have to have some routine for yourself. I mean,
I know you got stuff in the morning too.
I mean, in the beginning, when I was in another industry, I'd get up, regardless of whether I went out at night, I'd get up an hour early and I'd work out at home. Yeah. I mean, it mattered because it put me in a position where I felt good going into the day, knowing that it was work. Now, do I work out as much? No, I don't. But I get to work home with my dogs, and I make a joke that I work from the pool, but it puts my mind right. Yeah. And now I'm not stressed out because I have 15 loans in the pipeline and I've got, 7 buyers in the pipeline. I'm not stressed out. Mm-hmm. And it's better than just going to have a drink, which is what such an easy excuse for people when you work from home.
Yeah. Sure. I think me, Jim, like you said, and definitely praying and meditating, right? Reading the Bible. Oh, yeah. Reading the Bible, praying, meditating, asking for guidance. Definitely, I think a lot of my deals wouldn't have gotten to where they got, and I wouldn't have even had a lot of the deals that I had if it wouldn't have been for him. To be honest, to be quite honest,
I think that kind of goes hand in hand, like the praying and meditating. Just really like in your zone, in your thoughts, like really getting yourself together and preparing yourself for the day, for the year, for the week, whatever it is, and maybe having something written down that you read every day. Certain goals that you want to do every day.
It's funny you say that. So one of the things that I follow, it's on TikTok, and I forgot who it is, but they send different Bible verses. Oh, cool. And he talks about it. Nice. So not only is it just the Bible verse, but he kind of talks about it for a quick second. And it really does put me at peace when I think of, all the stuff that we deal with, the good and the bad. And you go, wait a minute, there are things that are bigger than just that. It's not just about money. It's about helping a family, helping somebody, helping your buddy out. Purpose, and it keeps you focused.
Do you want to plug your podcast real quick? Because I know you have that podcast.
What's it called? So it's One Wolf Podcast. Yeah, One Wolf Podcast on YouTube. We're just on YouTube right now. So, but that's men's empowerment. So it's basically success, motivation, inspiration, relationships, fitness, and health. So
can you get all these links of each other on one? Because I'd like to be able to hold those links, because I will get somebody to go, hey, I want to talk to that guy. And I'll be like, which one? And then they'll show me the video. Oh, yeah. And that way I can just quickly go, here's the link.
Okay.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I have the YouTube channel.
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I have an actual link.
Yeah,
Like
and
the
that-
link.
Sweet, yeah.
So I'll shoot it over to you. I
Yeah,
have your
yeah.
number, So.
Sure. Cool. Well, then I think we've pretty much talked about
Yeah, man.
everything
I
we
appreciate
can
it.
talk
Thanks for
about.
having me on again. I
I'm
appreciate
glad.
it. It's always a pleasure being
Thanks
here
for
with
coming,
you guys,
man.
man.
I think we always have some good conversations.
Yeah.
Especially with someone like you with your experience, man. I appreciate you a lot. Anything else you want to end with?
Nah, man. I thank you guys for everything, man.
Cool,
Appreciate
man.
it, yeah.
Well, then,
we got a lot coming up too.
yeah.
I think all of us.
Yes,
together, so.
yeah, for sure. Well, then that's gonna do it for us today, folks.
Cool.
Tune in next time, and we'll see you.
All right.
Bye.